Welcome back. My name is Homai, and today we are going to talk about triads. We're going to look at how to build triads from the very beginning. This is assuming that you understand intervals, in particular the interval of the third and the fifth. I'm going to show you two different methods for building triads. So first of all, what is a triad? Okay, well, the word is triad. If we look at the roots of the word, tri refers to the number 3, and ad refers to points, 3 points. Or in this quick case, 3 notes. So it's basically a 3-note chord. That's what a triad is. Now, triads are built off of a particular method of harmonization known as tertian harmony. Tertian harmony. And you'll notice we'll have the prefix ter in the word tertian, and that refers to thirds. So tertian harmony is the harmony of thirds. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at the piano. Okay, and I'll give you a little close-up view here. So if I start with the note C, for example, and I go up a third, 1, 2, 3, that gives me a nice sounding third. And if I go up another third from E, 1, 2, 3, I have a triad. C, E, G, which spells a C major triad, as I'm sure most of you know. Okay, but we're going to go over exactly how all of these are built. So basically, it's easy to see on the piano. Anytime you play thirds together, they form chords that harmonize well with each other. All of those are thirds. Now remember, there are two types of thirds. We have a major third and a minor third. There's actually also the diminished third and augmented third, but we're going to ignore them entirely. We don't encounter them in basic harmony. So let's review the major third and the minor third. So as you recall, major thirds have 4 half steps or 2 whole steps between them, and minor thirds are 3 half steps. So we have 4 half steps, we'll just do HS, and minor thirds have 3 half steps. Okay. If we're looking at the piano, again, it's going to look like this. So if I'm on the note C, okay, I'm going to count up 4 half steps for the major third. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's our major third. If I'm doing a minor third, I'm going to go 3 half steps. Here's my C, my starting point, and now I'm going to go 1 half step, 2 half steps, 3 half steps. And that's a minor third. And you can hear that the major third has kind of a happier sound, and the minor third sounds a bit sadder. So you can even hear the difference. Let's say we're starting from the note E flat. If I go up 4 half steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, major third, and 3 halves for minor third. 1, 2, 3, minor third. Okay. So that's how we're determining major and minor thirds. So you want to have a good sense of the difference between these thirds before thinking about tertian harmony. If you're struggling with thirds, major and minor thirds, tertian harmony is going to be a bit of a leap at this point. So let's take a look at what it looks like on the staff. So here's a treble clef. Let's start with our C. All right, now thirds on sheet music are very easy to spot because thirds are always going to be a line next to a line or a space note next to a space note. They're always going to be adjacent line notes or adjacent space notes. If we have, for example, a space note and a line note that are adjacent, that is a second, not a third. So you want to make sure that when you're notating your thirds, you are careful not to notate seconds or fourths, but always thirds. The reason this is, warrants addressing is because we have enharmonic notes in music. So for example, let's say we had C to E flat. this would be a third. If we count the half steps, see, 1, 2, 3, 3 half steps to E flat, which means this is a minor third. It's a minor third. Now, I could write this as a C, and instead of an E flat, this could also be a D sharp, because D sharp and E flat are enharmonic notes. If I wrote C and D sharp, even though they sound the same, it's not a third because C to D is a second. So in this case, this would be an augmented second. Okay? So we don't want to notate seconds for minor thirds. Okay? Same with fourths. Let's say you're dealing with a C to E natural. That's 4 half steps, as we showed earlier, which means this is a major third. Well, this could be spelled as, say, a B sharp to an E. Well, B sharp is enharmonic to C. But this would no longer be a third because B to E is a fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be a diminished fourth. And again, we don't want to notate it that way either. Right? So the easiest way to avoid this problem is to simply notate your triads out first, or your thirds out like this, where they're adjacent lines or adjacent spaces. Okay? So now that we understand that, let's actually go on to building triads. And for this, we don't actually need a clef. All right. So every triad has what we call a root. Every triad has a root. The root is a note that serves as the foundation of that chord. All right, so let's say that this is the root, and we don't care about the letter name. Notice I have no clef. We're just saying this is the lowest note. This is what we call the root of the triad, or the root of the chord. Okay, the next note is going to be a third higher than the root, and we call this the third, because it's a third higher than the root. Now we're doing tertian harmony, so we're going to stack another triad on another third on top. So the next note is a third higher, which is going to be another space. So notice these are all adjacent spaces. We're doing space, 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 which means we have 2 thirds. We have a third between the bottom 2 notes, and we also have a third between the top 2 notes. So we've stacked thirds, hence tertian harmony. So again, the lowest note is called the root. We add the third above the root, which is called the third, and then we add the third above the third, which is the fifth. So if we actually count this, we have the fifth, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So the top note that is a third above the third is known as the fifth. So those are the 3 parts of a triad: the root, the third, and the fifth. Now, the name of the chord, the name of the triad, is always based on the root. So for example, let's say that this was bass clef. Let's say we were in bass clef here. That means that this chord would be an A chord, some type of A chord, because the root is the note A. If we were to make the root C, for example, so now this is the root C, and build the rest of the chord. So we have a third above the root, and then a third above the third, which is the fifth. This would be a C chord, some type of C chord. Okay? So the name is always based off of the root. Now, let's talk about qualities of triads, the different types of triads we have. So notice we have two types of thirds we're using. We have minor thirds and major thirds. So if we can take C as an example here, this is the note C, E, and G. C, E, and G here on the piano. Let's see what kind of thirds we have. All right, so C to E, if we count the half steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 half steps, which means this is a major third. What about the upper two notes? E to G. Let's count those half steps. Here's E. 1, 2, 3. That's a minor third. So notice this triad is actually 2 thirds stacked on each other. The first one, the lower third, is a major third. The upper third is a minor third. When you have a major third and a minor third stacked on each other in this order, you always have a major triad. A major triad. So one way of thinking of a major triad is that it is a major third with a minor third on top, where the 3 notes are the root, the third, and the 5th. So this is one way of thinking of a major triad. There's a major third between the root and the third, and a minor third between the third and the 5th. So that's one type of triad. Let's look at the other types. Let's say that we're dealing with the notes, and we can just convert this into the other type, C. And instead of E natural, we're going to make this an E flat, and we'll keep the G the same. Now let's figure out what type of thirds we have. Between the C and the E flat, 1, 2, 3, that's 3 half steps, so it's a minor third. And between the E flat and the G, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 4 half steps, so it is a major third. Major third. So this time we're dealing with a reversal, a minor third with a major third on top. Whenever you have this order, you're dealing with a minor triad. We're going to notate this by putting the chord name C, capital C, and then the lowercase m for C minor. Capital M is major, lowercase m is minor. So again, this time we're dealing with a minor third with a major third on top, and again, these align with the 3 parts of the triad, the root, the third, and the 5th. So there's a minor third between the root and the third, and a major third between the third and the 5th. This is a minor triad. Now, let's take a look at another example. Let's say that we have our C again, which is the root of the chord. We're going to do minor third up, that's the E natural again, but this time we're also going to make the 5th a G flat. So again, C to E flat is still a minor third, just like it was in our minor triad. But now, because we've lowered the 5th a half step, it's no longer a major third, it's also a minor third. When you have 2 minor thirds stacked on each other, this is called a diminished triad, a diminished triad. This can be written many ways. You could write C, D-I-M. You could also write C with a degree symbol, like this. They both mean the same thing. This is a C diminished triad. And in this case, we have a minor third stacked on top of another minor third. Minor third, diminished triad. So quickly reviewing, a major triad is going to be major third, minor third. A minor triad is a minor third, major third. And diminished triad is a minor third, minor third. Okay. And there's one more type. We've done major minor, minor major, and minor minor. What's missing? Major major. So again, we're going to use C as our root. This time we need a major third, so it's not going to be E flat, it's going to be E natural. And then in order to make a major third on top of that, we're also going to raise the fifth scale degree to G sharp. So now we have a major third between the root and the third, and a major third between the third and the fifth. So this is what we call a C augmented triad. You can write C, A-U-G. You can also write C plus, and you can even write CA if you really wanted to, although this is not very common. I would recommend the upper two variations. And in this case, again, we have a major third stacked on top of a major third. So we could create a chart for this using this method. We have 4 different types of triads. So let's divide this in half, and each half in half, giving us 4 columns. And let's do it this way with the root, the third, and the fifth. Between the root and the third, if it's a minor third, just filling this out really quickly here. So here are 4 variations. If you have a minor third between the root and the third, a minor third between the third and the fifth, it is a diminished triad. If you have a minor third between the root and the third, and a major third between the third and the fifth, you have a minor triad. If you have a major third between the root and the third, and a minor third between the third and the fifth, you have a major triad. And if you have a major third between the root and the third, and a major third in between the third and the fifth, you have an augmented triad. Those are your 4 types. So I told you we're going to look at 2 different methods. This is one method of analyzing it. I think I'll make the other one a separate video. And there are many ways of thinking of music theory concepts. And I think it helps to understand it from different perspectives. It strengthens your depth of understanding. And also, just use what works for you. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. Again, if you have questions or you found anything confusing, just leave a comment down in the comment section below, and I will be happy to address that when I get a chance. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next video.